nervous at public speaking, but just bear with me. This is the verse that turned my life around, I guess. It's a verse that Sharee's asked me to read to you guys just because it's so personal to me, and it's just been my own personal testimony, I guess. So I'm going to read it to you. Can you open up, if you've got a Bible in you, Isaiah 40, and it's at the end of verse 27. You can just open it up. I'm so nervous right now. Read it out. I shouldn't be nervous. I'm nervous because it's just personal to me. Okay, have you guys got it open? So great. Anyway, Isaiah 40 verse 27. We don't have it up on the screen, but that's all right. I'm just going to read it out. If you don't have it, just listen. So it says, "Why do you complain, O Jacob? Why do you say, O Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord? My cause is disregarded by my God. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary, and he increases the power of the weak. Even the youths will grow tired and weary, and young men will stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord, he will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk through it all and not faint." And I guess this doesn't make sense to a lot of, it could make sense, but to me, it didn't really make sense, at first. So I don't expect it to really make sense to you guys either. But I thought I understood it well until I actually went through my own journey with God and experienced it for myself. So I'll break it down because it's easier when I break it down for you guys. So I'll start with the first bit. It's verse 27. It says, "Why do you complain, O Jacob, and why do you say, O Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord, or my cause is disregarded by my God?" So also, what I'm talking about right now, a lot of inspiration came from one of my favourite youth pastors, Louis Widow. So I don't know if you know him, but I love what he talks about. And a lot of what, if this sounds familiar, it's because it's come from what he said. But I've taken inspiration from it. But what does this mean? My way is hidden from the Lord, or my cause is disregarded by my God. What does that mean? In other words, we see this as a moment in their journey where they felt like God had completely abandoned them. And I don't know about you guys if you've ever felt like God's completely left you, or how you're going right now in your own life. But does God see what you're going through right now? How do you all feel right now? So does he see what you're carrying? You guys are just sitting down, you've been through your day, I've been through my day, and do you ever feel like God ever talks to you? Do you feel like he can see what you're carrying? But how do we even answer that? This is the next part. He says, just listen to this, he says, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom." That last sentence, his understanding no one can fathom. We can't understand God. He tells us that. So you're reading this and looking back and you're thinking, so my God, my Lord is everlasting. He created everything I see around me. He will never get tired or need rest. And we, that's me and you, will never understand God completely. So we've got to understand that first. And so at this point, you might be thinking, oh yeah, God is God. God's a big God. He created everything. He's this and that. And you're like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's what I thought, Alex. This is the next part. I've got 4 pages, so you've got to separate them evenly so they don't fall. He says this: He gives strength to the weary, and he increases the power of the weak. Even youths, that's me, grow tired and weary, and young men will stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord, and another way to say that is those who wait upon the Lord, he will renew their strength. And that was a personal testimony to me because I was going through a journey. Do you guys understand what I've said so far? Do you get that? A God so massive, so huge, gives strength to you and me, and the weary and the weak. How? What strength are you talking about, Sam? I've never experienced this strength before. I've never experienced that strength before until not long ago. And that's why I'm nervous, because it's so personal to me. It's my own testimony that I get to share this with you guys right now. Normally, I don't normally ever talk about this, but I'm able to be vulnerable in front of you guys and just tell you how important this verse is to me. So, what strength are we talking about? Listen to this. Even the youths will grow tired and weary, and young men will stumble and fall. Pausing right there. Even the young people will stumble and fall. They're supposed to be strong. They're supposed to be fit. They're the ones that are going to fall. Jesus has already told us that in this world we will have trouble. He's told us that, and we've got to know that we're going to have trouble. And it's a time that you're going through right now, whatever you're going through in life, the hardest stuff in life that can ever throw at you. It's chaotic, whatever you're going through right now in your life. I don't know what you're carrying right now. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know anything about your personal life. But from my personal experience, I know that God keeps his promises. And that's why I'm able to tell you guys about this morning. So anyway, next verse. Young men will stumble and fall, but this is the turning point. But those who hope, those who wait upon the Lord, he will renew your strength. Going through life, you will have trouble. God tells us that we're going to have trouble. But what it means to hope in the Lord, it means to hold on to him no matter what you're going through. Whatever your journey is right now, just don't get crushed completely. Always hold on to him, that last thread of hope. You may be sitting here right now with nothing really that's going on in your life, but that says something, because you need to listen even more, because that's one day there's going to be trouble, and this is where you've got to know where you're going to turn when there's one day when there's going to be trouble. This was the realization. This was the realization for me. For those who trust in him, those who hold on to him even though your life is being crushed, those who cannot take one more day, he will hold you in his hands and he will carry you all the days of your life. This is the promise he's made to us, because those who hope in the Lord, he will renew your strength. You will soar on wings like eagles. You will run and not grow weary. You will walk through it all and you won't faint. And I want you to know that even though you don't understand your circumstances right now, even if you don't understand what's happening in your life or why it's happening in your life right now, I want you to know that God has a purpose in every circumstance. He's already proven that to us at the cross. That's his evidence, and that's the promise he's made to us. And it's personal to me because I've experienced this myself, and it's just such a testimony to see how God works in people, and how in my own life I can see how it's just changed my life completely. So thank you for bearing with me through this shaking paper testimony. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, church. Oh my goodness, who has been blessed this morning? I feel like I don't even need to preach right now. I just want to say thank you to all the young people that went before me, to Eilish, to Riley for the prayer, to Latia for that banger as welcome, and to Sam for sharing that. And yeah, I'm feeling really nervous, but seeing you guys get up, you've encouraged me, so I feel ready. Before I start, I always like to pray because it helps to calm my nerves a little bit. So if you'd just like to bow your head with me as we just pray. Father God, we just want to come into your presence this morning, Lord. And Father, we know, feeling pretty nervous, but I have faith in what you can do through me. I have faith in the strength that you can provide to me, Lord. And I just pray that your Holy Spirit will speak to me, that you will be with everyone in church this morning, and that they would open their hearts and their minds to what you want them to hear. Amen. So, if you know me very well, you will know one fact about me. And I'm going to ask you guys this question, but first I'm going to give you a little bit of background. So I'm 20 years old, and I just got my open license. So I'm on my black, so I don't have to put my P plates on anymore, which is good. And I don't get pulled up by coppers anymore, which is good. But my car, her name is Rwanda. And I know it's also an African country, but I thought it was a really cool name. So my car's name is Rwanda, and she is a red Toyota Celica. She's 2.2 litre. She's my pride and joy. She's very shiny when I wash her, and I have time to wash her. And she's a hatchback, so she only has 4 seats. And one of the reasons why I was really happy about getting Rwanda as my car is my 2 back seats are really, really small. And I was like, hopefully everyone will be like, no, I don't want Sharee to pick me up. Her back seats are too small. I was like, yes, this means I only have to pick up one person. They can sit in the passenger seat next to me. But Instead, what has happened is I end up with 4 people in my car, and my front seat is jammed up near the steering wheel, and I have to listen to everyone complain about how bad my back seat is and how they wish that they were in the front seat. And I'm like, come on guys, just be grateful, just be grateful. But one thing about Rwanda that you will know if you know me well is where I normally keep my needle on my fuel gauge. So you can all imagine a fuel gauge. We've got full, 3/4, half a tank, quarter of a tank, and empty. And so I'm just gonna ask some people randomly. Let's ask Ben. Ben, where do you think I keep the needle on my car? Quarter? Oh, that's good. You know, you've got a little bit left in there to keep going. Who else? Who else should I ask? Teach, where do you think I keep the needle in my car? Just a guess. E? Empty? Whoa. Come on, T. Alright, someone else. Sharee, where do you think I keep the needle? Full. Oh, she's got faith in me. Amen. Okay, now I'm going to ask Jaden. Jaden, where do I keep the needle in my car? Every time we go to soup kitchen. Oh, he's got even more faith in me. Okay, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. My needle is always on empty. So Teach was right. Thank you, Sharee, though. I'm honoured that you think that. So whenever, like, my parents or my brother, they'll ask, oh, Sharee, can I borrow your car? I'm like, sure, go for it. And they're like, is there enough fuel in it? I'm like, of course there's enough fuel in my car. And they get in my car, and the needle's normally on empty or just above, and my fuel light is on. And they're like, there's not enough fuel. I'm like, there's heaps of fuel in there. And I've learned how far I can push my car. So when the fuel light comes on, I know that I have probably about 60 kilometers left, wow, and that I'll probably fill up the next day after I get home from work. And then I know when the needle gets to empty, I'm like, okay, I can probably get one last trip out of this to uni or work. And then when the needle gets about 2 millimeters past empty, I know, okay, I really need to look for a fuel station soon. But I can push my car pretty far. And my parents have even experienced this. I think they drove 60 kilometers with the fuel light on. They're like, your car's amazing. I was like, I know. And the reason why I always have my needle on empty is because I'm a uni student and I only work about 10 hours a week. So I don't really have that much money. So I just like to make the most of my tank, you know? You just got to get everything out of it that you can. And I've only run out of fuel in my car once. And what happened was I hadn't been paying attention to my fuel gauge at all, and I'd gone somewhere to visit a friend. My friend lived in Jimboomba, which is out in the Wook. And when I got in my car to come home, I realized that my needle was below empty and my fuel light was on. And it was pretty late at night, and my phone was flat, and I only knew how to get home. So I didn't know how to get to a close petrol station, and I was like, oh, sorry, why are you like this? When I got in my car and I started driving home, and I was just praying, I was like, God, please help me to get home. I don't want to be stuck on the side of the road in the dark, and I'm not going to be able to call anyone. And I was like, please God, help me get home. And I did get home. And when I got home, I said to myself, tomorrow morning, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put fuel in my car. So the next morning came, and I got in my car, and I went to turn it on. And no joke, my car would not even start. It was that low on petrol. And I was like, oh my goodness, Sharee, you need to change something. And the story kind of came to me a few weeks ago when God kind of revealed to me the same thing. Now, God is a lot like my fuel light in my car, and He comes on when my faith tank is getting low. And I experienced something in the past week where my tank ran all the way to empty. And I was lucky to be at home. I was lucky to be in a place where I could access faith. I could, call upon God. I could go get some fuel out of the shed to fill up my tank. But what if I had been on the middle of the motorway in the middle of the day and there's traffic all around me and I ran out of fuel right in the middle lane? What if my faith tank had left me in the midst of this chaos? What would happen to me then? And God has really been challenging me with this, and He really asked me the question, Sharee, why is your faith so small? And He also asked me the question, why do you put me in a box? And I realized that I put limits on God. And how I put limits on God is by, I look at myself. Instead of looking at God, I look at myself. I look at the problems that I'm going through. I look at my inadequacies, I look at my doubts, and I look at my fears. But I don't look at God. And I know that God is the only one that can fill up my faith tank. As much as I try and will it, and as much as I try and hope for it, I can't put faith in my own tank. And so, what I want to talk to you this morning about, family, is about this verse that, or about this story that God really kind of punched me in the stomach with, and He was trying to get me to listen and to realize something. So if you guys have your Bibles on you, if you don't have a Bible, raise your hand, and I'm sure we have deacons that can get you one. But just open your Bibles to Mark chapter 9 and verse 14. So it's Mark 9 and verse 14. While you guys are just opening, I'm just going to give you a bit of background to this story. So what has just happened before this story is that Jesus has just been on the Mount of Transfiguration. Now, if you're not familiar with that, the Mount of Transfiguration is when Jesus went to a mountain to pray, as He did very often, and He was really burdened. He was full of a lot of sorrow because He was about to die on the cross, and He knew that was about to happen. So He goes to the mountain with 3 of His disciples to pray, and he asked God to give them a sign to fill their faith up for the coming days, because He knew that it was going to be hard on His disciples. They were going to see Him be crucified. And what happens is once Jesus has prayed this, God the Father shines His glory on Jesus on the top of this mountain. And Jesus is apparently, His divinity shined through Him, and the disciples were amazed. Apparently His clothes were the whitest thing they'd ever seen, and it was more blinding than the sun. And this is the image that they've just seen Jesus in. He's being praised by heaven for the amazing God that He is. And so this has just happened on the mountain, and they've just come back down, and this is where we pick up our story. So it starts in verse 14, and I'm just going to tell you guys the story. And so Jesus and the 3 disciples come down, and they come down to the bottom of the mountain, and there's this big crowd, and this is where Jesus had left the other 9 disciples. So the 9 disciples are standing in the middle, and there's this big crowd of people all around them. And you can hear arguing, you can hear people yelling, you can hear people exclaiming, you can hear there's a dispute happening. And He instantly knows that there's something wrong with His disciples. He can see them in the middle of the crowd, and He kind of picks up, okay, something's not right. And so Jesus walks down, and as soon as the people see Him, because Jesus is the one that they've been following, He's been performing these amazing miracles, He's been speaking life into these people, and as soon as they see Jesus, they just flock to Him. And it even says in the verse that they are overwhelmed when they see Him. Apparently His face is still shining, wow. And as they come around Jesus, this hush kind of falls over the crowd, and Jesus is able to speak. And He says in verse 16, "What are you arguing with them about?" Now He's talking to the leaders and the people in the crowd, and He's asking them, "Why are you arguing with my disciples? What's going on?" And no one answers. All the people that have been arguing, been saying whatever it is that they've been saying, just quiet. But a man in the crowd answers Jesus. He says, "Teacher," this is verse 17, "Teacher, I brought you my son, who is possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground." Some translations say that this demon is destroying this boy. He foams at the mouth. He gnashes his teeth and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not. So this is the problem. The disciples had come to a situation where they could exercise their faith, but they couldn't at that moment. And what's really amazing is that just a few weeks before, Jesus had sent these disciples out, and they've been preaching in the towns, they've been healing people, and they've been casting out demons. Like just a few weeks before, a few days before. And then we get to this in a situation where they have the opportunity to exercise their faith, to show who they follow, and to heal this man that has brought his son to them, and they couldn't do it. And so what the scribes and the teachers of the law had been saying to the disciples is, you can't do this. You're Jesus, this one you say is the Messiah, that's all powerful, you're God. He's not stronger than this demon. And so they're downplaying God. They're just saying he's another person. And so this is what the disciples had been faced with. And you can kind of imagine they've probably be feeling pretty humiliated, pretty down, pretty sad about their experience. And when Jesus hears what has happened, he replies to the man with this, and to the crowd and also to the disciples in verse 19. You unbelieving generation, how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me. When I first read this, I was kind of a bit taken back. It seems pretty harsh how Jesus says this. But as I realized that Jesus was saying this out of a place of deep sorrow for his people. He was preparing to die on the cross for these people, to give everything for them so that they might have life. God gave his one and only son that whoever believes might have life. And he stood in front of a crowd of people that had been following him, of his disciples, and of teachers of the law that, they should know this book back to front, but they still didn't realize. And he said, I'm about to give everything for you guys. All you have to do is believe, but you don't. How do I do this for you guys if you don't believe? But despite of all this, Jesus still says, bring the boy to me. So they bring the boy to him, and as soon as the demon inside the kid notices that he's in the presence of Jesus, he throws the boy on the ground, and the boy's rolling around. It says he's convulsing, he's foaming at the mouth, and everyone's seeing this, everyone's watching this, and Jesus is watching this happen. And I kind of wonder, why didn't Jesus heal him right then and there, to stop this boy from pain? But Jesus watches this happen, and he says to the boy's father in verse 21, how long has he been like this? And the father answers, he has been like this from childhood. It has often thrown him into fire or water to kill him. So we know the demon that this boy is possessed with is something that eventually, or very soon, is going to take this young boy's life. And I just want to put the question into your mind that perhaps when this boy first started struggling with this demon, it might not have been that vicious, but has got to the point where the father is at loss. He doesn't know what to do. He's desperate. He's brought his son to Jesus. And I just want you guys to think about, is there something in your life that has brought you to a place of desperation and that you know that you don't need in your life anymore? So just think about that as we keep. So the father says, it's tried to kill him. And then after that, verse 22, he says to Jesus, but if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. And Jesus replies, if you can. If you can. He's asking this man, if you can. And the first time I read this, I thought Jesus was being a little bit sassy, if you can, what do you mean, I'm God? But he was full of sorrow. And he continues, everything is possible for the one who believes. Because Jesus knew that unless the father had the faith to believe, had the faith to hold on, then his son was not going to be healed. And you say, well, that's a bit harsh. Jesus is just going to stand there and watch this boy struggle. But we know that is the reality of the faith that we live, of the Christ that we believe in. He gave us a choice. And it is your choice to either believe, to hold on to your faith, or to let go. And so Jesus stands in front of this man and he's pleading with him. Everything is possible to the one who believes. He's looking right at this man and he's just begging him, hold on to your belief in me. Why did you bring him here? You know that I am someone. You know that I am God. Just hold on to that. And as soon as he says that, the father realizes his inadequacy. He realizes his weakness. And he says in verse 24, I do believe. Help me with my unbelief. Help me overcome my unbelief. He's exclaiming, he's pleading to Jesus, please, forgive me. Don't let my son suffer from my unbelief. Help me to believe. And I think it's pretty cool what happens next. After this massive wave of unbelief and faith and sorrow that Jesus has had to face, Jesus still heals the boy. It says he rebuked the impure spirit. He said, you deaf and mute spirit, I command you to come out of him and never enter him again. The spirit shrieked, convulsed him violently, and came out. The boy looked so much like a corpse that many said, he's dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him to his feet, and he stood up. That is my God. That is my Jesus. And I want to ask you, is that your God? Is that the God that you believe in? The one that despite of, the disbelief of his disciples, the one he's been training, the one he's been leading up to this, despite of the crowd, these people that had been following him for hope and still had disbelief, despite of the leaders, Jesus still takes the time to stop and to heal this boy. And it wasn't even because the father, had lots of faith. It's because he came to Jesus in his unbelief and asked him for help. And I was just really taken back by that. And I guess I was comforted by that. And this has been something that has kind of really got me through the past 2 weeks. Because I really felt like, I have been driving with my needle way past empty for a long time, and I don't know how I've done it. I don't know how long my car has lasted. And I came to Jesus with this cry, help me with my unbelief. And he's been teaching me how to have faith in him the last few weeks. And how to look at God in the glory of who he is, and not just another guy or another person or something that we say in church. And this is where I really want to reflect on what Sam said. Have you not heard? Do you not know that our God is the everlasting God? Our God is the creator of the earth. And I want to say to you guys, we hear this verse, everything is possible for one who believes. But do we really believe that? Everything is possible. And I can put myself in two situations here. I can either be the man or I can either be the disciples. And I think that I have been both. I know that I have come to God and I've asked him, God, if you can do anything, I don't know why I'm here, why have you put me through this, but you need to help me, you need to get me out of this. And Jesus is standing there exasperated with me. He's like, Sharee, all you have to do is have faith. Just hold on to that faith, the faith that you speak about or you talk about when life's going good. But now that it's bad, this is when you need to hold on to that. And I also put myself in the shoes of the disciples, and I think how often have people come to me, with someone that's sick or with someone that's struggling, looking for faith, looking for hope. And because of my unbelief, I have turned them away. And that hit me really hard. How many people do you talk to in a day? And you know that every one of them is struggling with something. How many of those people are looking for hope? And after you've been through a struggle and you've held on to God, you wonder how on earth everyone else that doesn't believe in God gets through something like that. Or at least I know I do. I'm like, how could I have gone through that and come out how I have, if I didn't have God? And this is the reality that we're living in. You know, we have Jesus and we believe that Jesus loves us. But Jesus also loves the people outside of church. He loves Eden's Landing. He loves Beenleigh. He loves the whole world. The disciples, they didn't have the faith, but it also said that they were careless of the charge that Jesus had given them. You know, and I kind of wonder, am I like that sometimes? Jesus has given me this charge to love one another and to go and make disciples and to spread the good news. But I feel like, you know, I get stuck in the day-to-day agenda. I have uni, I have work, and I go home. Like, I get so stuck in this that I'm careless of my situation and I'm careless of the people around me. And I just felt like I really needed to share this with you guys. And you know, God He's offering us this life of such fullness and such goodness. Even though we may have pain and we may have hurt, He's offering us more. He's offering us an opportunity to use what He has given us, because He has given every one of you a talent, whether you want to believe it or not. And He has given every one of you an opportunity to shine your light. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And that is the decision that you have to make. Are you going to let it shine or are you not? Because there is a whole community out there that needs hope and that needs Jesus. And what are we doing about it, church? What are we going to do about it? And it was like Sam said, you know, just because you're not going through the struggle right now, we know that struggles are going to come. And we have to be able to hold on to our faith now and to ask God to grow our faith now, so that tomorrow when we're struggling, or when our friends are struggling, or our families are struggling, we can be like, it's all right, I got you. Because I've got God, and He is a God that can do everything and anything. And it also kind of hit me that perhaps this is the reason why sometimes we have people walk into church and then they just turn around and walk out. And maybe this is the reason why our young people are a little bit confused as to why they should stay in church sometimes. And I think in this example, they're standing in the crowd and they're looking at the world, accusing us of the God that we serve. And we're standing over here, and are we going to take it like the disciples did with our little faith and not do anything? Or are we going to do something? And the reality is that those 9 disciples, they spread the word to the whole world. It is because of them that we're here today. And it is this life that God has called you to, you know. Every person, every young person. You know, I know I have dreams in my heart. You have dreams in your heart. You have goals. You have things that you want to achieve. And God has put them in your heart. But don't let your faithlessness, don't let your unbelief or the unbelief of the people around you stop you. You know, Jesus is saying this to you just like He's saying it to the man. Everything is possible for the one who believes. Even if you're on your own, if you have faith in God, if you believe in God and you hold on to that, you know, He can do anything and everything through you. You don't have to live this boring life. You don't have to sit at the back of church worried about, you know, what am I going to do after church because right now I don't really care? Or what am I going to do during my week? What does my future hold? Like, God has got you. He has got your life plan, and He's like, I have amazing things in store for you. I want you to take hold of that. And I was really encouraged. I think I was in a position where I was someone that was looking for help. I was looking for hope. And someone that actually showed it to me, I'm going to point out, she's probably going to get embarrassed, but Letitia, actually, she really, really helped me out a couple of weeks ago. I was going through, still going through a real heartbreaking situation. And what she said to me was, Sharee, Jesus is enough for you. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. And Jesus is enough for you. Whatever you're bringing to the table, whatever your hurt is, whatever your situation is, Jesus is enough for you. Because everything is possible for the one who believes. And not only is Jesus enough for you, but you are enough for Jesus. You know, Jesus came down from that mountain, from all the glory, from the angels praising him, from the light of God shining upon him. And he came down to the bottom of that mountain to help that faithless man who had a son that was possessed with a demon, you know. You are enough for God. You are enough for Jesus. Don't spend time wallowing in the doubt. Don't spend time coasting with your tank on empty, you know. Fill up. We can drive this race of life, and our faith tank can fill up as we drive. That's pretty cool. It doesn't have to get empty all the time. You don't have to run out all of the time, you know. Jesus wants to offer you this fullness. And I just really want you guys to know that I really believe that we as a church are doing amazing things, and I think amazing things are happening. And Jesus has really sent his Holy Spirit to us. And I just want to remind you that the Holy Spirit is Jesus in a spirit form. And he's given that to us, you know. Just because Jesus isn't walking with us now doesn't mean that we can't do what the disciples were doing. We can't heal like they were. We can't baptize thousands, you know. We have the Spirit of God that wants to live in us. And are you going to take that? Are you going to hold on to that belief? Or are you going to stay where you are, you know? And I had to make that decision. Am I going to stay in this pit of doubt and worry, in this pit of darkness, or am I going to look to God? Because sometimes we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know the future, but God does. And he's telling us, he's pleading with us from his heart that everything is possible for us if we would just believe. Thank you guys for listening. And as I invite the singers to just come up and sing our last song, I've never actually done an old before, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be standing over there. And if you would like to pray, or if you would like to talk about something, or if you would like your faith tank to fill up, then just come talk with me and come pray with me. I would love to hear what you guys have to say.